Alright, hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to just introduce you to the topics that are going to be on the upcoming AP exam in May of 2020. As you may have heard, due to the coronavirus issue, the College Board is offering AP exams in a different format, and because of the loss of school days, they have decided that some of the topics on their course guide are not going to be covered on the actual AP exams. So I'm just going to go through quick with you and talk to you about what is and is not going to be on the exam. This is for AP Calculus AB. The first thing you see here is Unit 1, Limits and Continuity. This entire unit, as is, will appear on the AP Calculus exam, so you need to know everything that we learned about limits and continuity. And you can kind of read through those topics, particular topics there, and see what all falls into that category. But this is all going to be on the exam. Alright. Also, everything is going to appear in the exam from their second unit on their pacing guide. Differentiation and the definition and basic derivative rules related to differentiation. And you can see all those concepts there. Average and instantaneous rates of change, defining the derivative of a function, estimating derivatives at a point, connecting differentiability and continuity, and then some of our basic rules, the power rule, constant rule, sum rule, difference rule, constant multiple rule, the derivatives of all of the trig functions, the exponential and logarithmic derivative rules, and the product rule and quotient rule. So those, again, this entire unit appears intact on your AP exam. Unit 3, more about differentiation. This entire unit also appears intact on your AP exam. Chain rule, implicit differentiation, finding the derivatives of inverse functions, the inverse trig functions, deciding what procedures to use when calculating derivatives. Do I use the chain rule here? Do I use the product rule? Which one comes first? Things like that. And then calculating higher order derivatives, finding the second, third, and even higher order derivatives. This entire unit, again, appears intact on the Calc AB exam. Unit 4, applications of differentiation in context. Again, this entire unit, as written in the College Board's outline, appears intact on this year's AP exam. So we've got different ways to apply the derivative, related rates, linearization and local linearity, L'Hopital's rule, all fall into this unit on their guidelines, and those are all things that you could see on your upcoming exam. Unit 5. The analytical applications of differentiation, how to use the mean value theorem, finding global and local extrema and critical points, increasing, decreasing of a function, first derivative test and second derivative test for extrema, using those local extrema to determine global extrema, determining concavity, being able to sketch graphs and their derivatives, and the connection between first, second derivative and a function. Also optimization, and exploring the behaviors of implicit relations. All of those topics, again, will appear on the AP exam this year. Unit 6, Integration and Accumulation of Change. All of Unit 6, except for the purple highlighted objects here, are eligible to be asked about on the AB exam this year. Accumulation of change, Riemann sums, defining a definite integral using a Riemann sum, the connection between those notations, interpreting the behavior of accumulation functions, properties of definite integrals, fundamental theorem of calculus and how we use that in finding definite integrals, rules and notation, substitution as an integration technique, using long division or completing the square to simplify an integrand algebraically in order to help us integrate, and then selecting the techniques that you use for anti-differentiation. Do I use substitution here, or is this a straightforward antiderivative of something that we should know? Again, this entire unit appears intact on this year's AP exam. And then Unit 7, differential equations. Except for the purple highlighted pieces of this. All of these concepts are eligible to be asked about on this year's AP exam. Modeling with differential equations, verifying their solutions, slope fields, reasoning and interpretation of slope fields, using separation of variables, and exponential modeling based off of differential equations. This, again, this entire set of things, except for, of course, the purple highlighted BC only concepts, these are all eligible for your AP exam. And then, one that makes me sad, Unit 8, this one right here, this entire unit is not going to be on the AB exam this year. So that gets rid of finding average value, relationships involving position, velocity, and acceleration that require integrals, applied contexts of accumulation functions, area between curves in terms of x, area between curves in terms of y, area between curves with multiple intersection points, cross-sectional solids, solids of revolution. None of this none of the concepts in this unit are going to be tested on this year's AP exam. So when we start reviewing for the exam, we're going to ignore this stuff, even though we've learned about it in class or in our online studies. We're going to not be required to answer questions on this stuff, which of course means that for the second time in the 60-plus years of the Calc AB exam, there should be no questions this year on area and volume. All right, and that's it. That's the end of the AB content. So it's relatively simple. You can kind of watch this video and pause through and see the concepts, or you can look for a course guide for AB if you want to study more in depth what's in each section. But I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know what you will need to study and what you won't. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon.